Slowpaddle. What's happening?
I gotta turn something off. I don't know which thing's going. Alright.
Tell us about the malt.
So this is a malt that I've never used before. This is heritage malt from Crisp over in England. This is their Chevalier, Cavalier, whatever. I'm sure they say it differently than we do. So it's just a base malt, like their Maris Otter malts. It smells fantastic. I've never smelled a base malt with this much flavor. It smells good, doesn't it?
It smells wonderful.
And that's all I'm using in this beer. It's a single malt. Take it for a test drive. And then we'll use some American hops, Kashmir hops, some Zappa hops. Make it a little crazy in here. That's a new variety. It's one of those New Mexico Neo-Mexicanos. That's how the Romans would have said it. They're supposed to have lots of flavors. I think when I read the descriptor, it was like every hop flavor you'd want: citrus, fruity, passion fruit, spice, everything. So I thought it would pair well with the Kashmir. We're just gonna put them in the boil from 30 minutes on. Do a whirlpool. Probably do a little dry hop. This is just a pale ale, so I'm not going too crazy with the hops. But it's hard not to go crazy with the hops after making all these hazies.
We love the hops.
If it weren't for hops, we'd have nothing to do with all this malt. See, there's only 12 pounds of grain. A little lighter than what I usually do. Trying to get something in the keg for consuming on the patio. Sit on the patio for hours and hours without getting hammered. Kind of the idea. Got the brew bag in. Makes life a lot easier with these single systems. I got the smaller one that fits on the basket, just to kind of keep it off the bottom, off the heating element. They do make one that goes into the whole kettle without the basket. That gets you a couple more pounds of grain if you're into making giant beers.
Are you into making giant beers?
No.
No?
No.
I seem to remember making a few giant beers.
But I'm not into it. Not typically what I make. I don't typically make barley wine or imperial stouts or quads. Man, I won't go in there. Couple dough balls in this. It seems to happen when you pulverize the grain for the brew in the bag.
So you do a finer grind than you would in a traditional?
Yeah, I go down, I set the mill as far as it'll go, which is 0.025, I think, millimeters. I got the, what's it called? It has a cute name for a mill. The HullWrecker. Yeah, I got the HullWrecker from Northern Brewer. And it is set on 0.025. So it wrecks those hulls. Pretty basic mill. I looked at some of the other options that are out there now for homebrewers, but I didn't think that was where you get the best bang for your buck for improving your beer. I'm already getting a pretty good extraction out of the bag. Now, if I was talking about espresso or coffee, then I would say you'd spend your money on the grinder.
When will we be talking about espresso or coffee?
Well, I gotta replace the gasket on my espresso machine, so I don't want a bunch of leaky videos.
All right. So you hear that? We got coffee video to come.
Once I get that, okay. The problem with recording coffee is you're either not awake when you're making coffee, or you're in the middle of the day and you're just in a hurry to get a cup of coffee or a shot of espresso out.
So it's like a chicken or the egg. You need your coffee to make the coffee, but you can't have any coffee till you make the coffee.
Yeah, it is that way. Like there's some, like I don't make espresso in the morning because that's not what my brain is equipped for at that point in time. Need a bucket? This is my brewing Tupperware.
Nice.
All homebrewers should have good Tupperware.
It's classy.
Got a nice color already. Look at that, nice and orange. I just like to recirculate a little bit, since usually around the outside of this thing it doesn't mix real well initially. Right about 11. Another on-time delivery. I'm planning for a 45-minute mash today. I've done 30, but I think just not having used this grain before, I don't want to take any chances on the conversion. Start a mash timer. Alright. Temperature we had. Oh, 154. That's good enough. Good enough. I don't get bent out of shape about the mash temperature as long as it's close.
Oh, there it is.
Malt and smoke. It's the best smell ever. That's how you barbecue. I keep looking at the electric setups that are bigger. I can't decide.
Yeah.
There's just too many of them out there now.
What do you think of the Anvil system?
What
do you think of the Anvil system?
I like this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want a bigger version of this though. Because lifting the bag up with that, it's already kind of a lot of work to squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd almost have to just give up on the squeeze. Because I wouldn't want to deal with that every time. Yeah, that's a lot more weight. I don't know if that hook I have in there is big enough. So I'm leaning towards almost like a traditional multi-vessel, your separate mash tun, pump it over to the brew kettle. That's what I'm leaning towards now. Just don't know which one. The Warthog looks pretty neat. It's designed a little differently. Like has this continuous, it's two vessels, but it's like this continuous pumping between the brew kettle and the mash tun.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that would do a good job for your efficiency. Then when you're ready to transfer, you just close the valve and it all just stays in the brew kettle. That's it.
Yeah.
The one thing that's nice about these is it's a lot less to clean.
Yeah.
You're done cleaning like before you know it.
Alright, so what's our next beer?
Lollihop double IPA. It's got the trifecta, mosaic, citra, and a Zappa from Troegs.
Awesome.
Hershey, PA. No chocolate in the beer. That's England that does that. Troegs knows better. Mmm. shooting for 1.052 pre-boil and at 1.050 on the refractometer, which is usually close enough for a measurement. I don't rely on the refractometer because I know it's not accurate. I don't know why Ryan doesn't like these.
They're not cheap.
But they're, they actually are, because they're part of the public breeding program. They're like some of the newer hops without the, they're not owned by one of the hop growers like Simcoe or Amarillo or Citra and all those. So that's why I got the rhizomes for those, because I could. Smells good.
It's wonderful.
There you go.
Which ones are these?
Kashmir and Zappa. Oh, there's our alarm. We were a little bit premature. There's some Cervomyces just to help the yeast out.
So you're gonna do a hop stand. Is that like a keg stand?
No. It's a hop stand.
What exactly does the hop stand
Oh,
do?
what is it? Okay. Well, you put a bunch of hops in, you get somebody to grab your feet, lift you up, and stick your face right in. That's a keg stand. A hop stand is bringing the temperature down a little bit. You extract aroma and flavor compounds, try to minimize the additional bitterness. You're going to get some bitterness. To me, that seems like it's been a good opportunity to impart flavor and aroma. It kind of stays with the beer. I don't know why it works. There's a lot of theories about the hop stand and the whirlpool hops and how that carries through, and biotransformation. Nobody really understands any of that. I don't care who's talking about it. I haven't seen anything, concrete about it. There's a lot of theories and there's trends and things that people correlate, but I don't have scientific proof yet. But it's fun to experiment with stuff like that where there isn't concrete evidence of proof of how things work.
So is it fake news or does it really work?
Depends on who you talk to and what news they watch.
What's happening?
I gotta turn something off. I don't know which thing's going. Alright, hot. Alright, there we go. So we're at the end of the boil.
Alright.
So now this has got to get down to 188 or so, 185-ish, something like that. And then we'll do our hop stand. And then we'll chill it the rest of the way. Get it down to fermenter temperature. Put it on the glycol. Probably won't pitch the yeast for a few hours because I just smacked the smack pack because I'm so used to using dry yeast now. Oh, this should be a good one for experiment with some new hops, some new grain. Be able to drink it on the patio.
What's your thoughts on the smack pack versus a traditional starter, yeast starter?
I mean, the smack pack, I guess, is good because you get some visual indication that your yeast is healthy before you use it. I mean, this is only going to be 1.055 or so. If it was above like 1.06, I'd probably make a starter. In this case, it's not worth it. More recently, I've been using the dry yeast because it's much easier to keep. You don't have to make a starter. You don't have to rehydrate it. I think that's a waste of time. I will tell you my opinions when you're ready for them. I hope you're ready. But yeah, there's a lot more variety in the dry yeast now too.
When I started homebrewing, dry yeast was the only thing you could get, and then the liquid yeast came out, and it was far superior to any of the dry yeast. And now we're back to the dry yeast again. So how do you feel about that whole cycle?
Oh, I didn't realize you started with Charlie Patio.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, they just keep improving everything. So, well, you had like, you could get Munton's yeast for a while. It was just like an English yeast. There was Nottingham yeast. I forget who made that. Nottingham was pretty good. I used to use that back before dry yeast was cool. It still had that kind of like, I don't know, bready yeast kind of flavor to it, but I think now the ones that are out there, they find ways to isolate those strains that work for dry yeast. I'm kind of surprised now they have lager yeast, Belgian strains, pretty much anything. They kind of cover the spectrum. They don't have the variety of those liquid yeast, but I'm guessing they'll get there eventually.
So you're not gonna run the wort through the chiller?
I might. So we still got to do the whirlpool hops, and then after that, I might do a no chill method. No chill.
No chill.
But there will be chilling because I'll let the glycol take it down. I don't want to make it work too hard, but maybe like the lower 125 degrees if it gets down there. I mean, as long as we do the whirlpool hops and transfer it over to the fermenter while it's still hot, that'll sanitize. I mean, it's already sanitized, so it'll kill anything that might still be in there. Just let it sit. Let the glycol take it down the rest of the way, and then pitch the yeast.
Sounds like a plan.
Save some water. That's what they do in Australia. Some areas that have water issues, like California or Las Vegas. They use the plastic, what they are. We call it plastic though. Actually, I have some. But they let it sit on the ground, and that pulls all the heat out of it slowly. You don't have to use any water, but because you put it in there hot, you don't have to worry about contamination because this hot wort itself sanitized. And you don't use any water. You just lose. I mean, you basically can't drink your beer until 8 hours more. That's what all cools down. Make sure that doesn't fall down. The hop spider right now. If you have arachnophobia, I don't recommend a hop spider. But if you're good with spiders, they come in very handy. So what I'll do is I'll add the hops in there. I'll keep it out of the most of the wort. We'll just recirculate it now to cool it off a little bit. Some of you are probably asking, what about hot side aeration and all those flavors? I've been brewing for 20 years and I've never tasted that. Whatever that is. Somebody needs to send me a sample of hot side aeration so I know what it tastes like. 196 already. Oh, this is actually working pretty good. Must have been a cold spider. Came out of my radon room back in the corner. And if you're ever in Florida, check out Masturbate and Tackle. Green peppers. Got the Zappa hops. Kashmir hops. Yakima Valley. That's the best place to get your hops. They send you stickers.
Yeah.
Everybody likes stickers.
And they like your Twitter feed. What are we doing here?
I got a hop spider in. I use it like a big, tea bag at this point. I dunk it in as deep as it goes. And I got recirculation going in here just to keep the wort moving through it. I just spin it, get a little barbaric with it, splash it. Yeah, it's only 2 ounces of hops in there, but oh, it smells good. I'll give it a little extra hop oomph going into the fermenter. And once we get into the fermenter, I got some dry hops planned. Same 2 hops, Zappa and Kashmir. Should bring home a nice pale ale for the patio once the weather gets warm.
How do you determine when to put the dry hops in?
I usually wait until about 10 days after, I think 10 days. Usually, with the double IPAs, they wait until about 10 days after the yeast is pitched, fermentation starts. Seems to be a good time. It's fermentation's well done, and then it has some time to age a little bit, condition. So more recently, I've been dry hopping cold. I'll crash it down. I've been crashing it down to the 30s, dry hopping. That's worked for 3 or 4 days. That works pretty good. You get nice hop character without the vegetable types of flavors. This one I might try a little bit differently. I might go a little warmer, like drop it down to like 45, 50, and dry hop at that temperature. Let's see if I can shorten that a little bit, because what I did last time was I tried like a 2-day dry hop window at like 35 degrees. It didn't work as well as like a 4-day dry hop window that I found at that temperature. I was kind of surprised. I've been reading about people doing their 2-day, real short cold dry hop. What I found, the problem I had was that the hops were still floating a lot more than after 4 days. They were compacted down into the cone of the fermenter mortar. So I lost almost a gallon of beer because there was just so much slop still floating around in the fermenter. That's unacceptable. So this time I'm going to try a little higher temperature and maybe go like 3 days. See if I can pull the hop character out I want and not waste valuable beer because it just hasn't filtered out yet. We'll see how it goes. Alright, time to transfer over to the tank fermenter. We're going to transfer it over hot, let it cool with Mother Nature's glycol take over eventually.
What temperature you got in the pot?
Now we're at 167, so it dropped considerably. Just below typical pasteurization temperature. Fill her up. Let's see it coming in. There she goes.
What temperatures are coming in at?
167.
In the fermenter.
In here?
Yeah.
Should be the same temperature as it's coming out.
Should lose a little bit.
It should. I don't have the thermometer. The thermal wells are sticking in there, but there's no thermometer at the moment. Go ahead and close this up. Invasive weed central back here. Crazy.